Alright. So we are live. So we are trying something out new today. We're trying out Foundry. It's a factory building game. It's 3D, apparently similar to Satisfactory. That's about as much as I know about it. So I've gone to all the default settings. Just click random on map seed a couple of times. And get started. I think I'm gonna have to turn the volume down a fair amount. It's sort of loud. Oh boy, we get a cutscene.
Welcome, operator. I'm Carl, your facility management artificial intelligence.
Carl. Nice to meet you.
Congratulations on acquiring a building permit and a derelict space station on this resource-rich moon. An ideal spot for industrial business endeavors. My goal is to assist you in setting up this factory. Let's run a few basic checks before we get started. Open your map to check your surroundings.
Okay. Let's see here.
Fantastic. There are several ore patches in the vicinity. Equip your ore scanner from the inventory and use it to locate the ore patches.
Okay. Tutorial. Inventory. Oh, is it B for bag? Yes. Alright, I see the hotkeys in the bottom right. My webcam is covering that up, actually. If I can... so first let's go audio. Let's cut that to like 50%. That should be fine. And then, let's see if I even remember how to do this. How about the bottom left side of the screen? Maybe that is... hopefully that's better. Alright, so we've done that. Equip the ore scanner. Use the ore scanner.
To
Success.
get started, approach both of the ore patches and mine some ore.
Aha, I found one. It is right here. So I switch to this, and I mine some ore. Xenoferrite rubble. I need to get 100 of it. Let's do that real quick. 97. Classic. 3 less than I need. Alright. Now I need to find Technum. I need 100 of that as well. So let's head over here and grab some Technum. Also known as blue ore. You can tell because it's blue. Alright, that went a lot quicker.
Great. Now that we have an initial supply of ore, we need to smelt it into plates and rods. Go back to your drop pod and use the built-in smelters to create your first crafting materials.
Okay. Interesting. The UI is not a pop-up menu, it's just physically in the game world. That's cool. I like that. So we need to take these once they're done. Sorry about that. Let's take some of those and some of those.
Now that we have basic materials available, we should start crafting building blocks which act as a foundation for other buildings.
Jump
To do
height
so,
is
you need to
very
open
low.
the crafting menu and click the desired items. Then, place them in the shape of a platform next to one of the ore patches.
Alright, crafting menu.
The orange ore will be in higher demand. I suggest starting with that.
Is going to be C, according to the tooltips down there. And we want to make 30 building blocks. Alright, I need more plates. grab some more of those, and while we're here, may as well grab some more of those. And they are made in batches of 20, which is why they asked for 30 apparently. Makes sense. Alright. So now I just place all of these as a foundation. Got it. Alright, so I can do something like this.
To automate ore extraction, we need to set up a drone miner. Craft one and place it on top of your foundation right next to the ore patch.
Drone miner. They need machinery parts and electronic components. Ah, so if you hit E, it does pop up as a pop-up menu. That's interesting. The tooltips on this game are definitely not quite to the level of Satisfactory, but not a huge deal. So I click on that, and it crafts the component parts, and then crafts the final result. Fair enough. And done. So now I place the drone miner on the foundation like that.
Drone miners and most other buildings require power to function. Let's build a biomass generator on the same foundation as the drone miner. Once built, you need to harvest some plants and trees with your mining drill to collect biomass. Insert the biomass into the generator and it will start to power all buildings on the same foundation as the generator.
Alright, starting off, it's like eerily similar. Not exactly the same, you have to craft buildings before placing them, but lots of stuff are the same. Biomass generators and everything. So let's craft a biomass burner. Put it in my inventory. And put it on the foundation. Rotate with R. Got it. Oh, that's the panel there. Alright. I just realized I haven't placed this very well. That can go there. Mine some biomass from vegetation. Alright. Seems like bushes might not count. Let's get this tree then. And this tree as well. And now I can put this in.
Go watch your mining drones acquire your first automated ore. Aren't they beautiful? Anyways, we need to get going. Let's build a smelter next.
Alright, so we craft. We need more stuff. The smelter. Let's grab some of those. And make a smelter. Alright, so you can move around with the menus up, but you can't turn with the menus up. So let's pop the smelter on there.
The smelter is more efficient than the inbuilt drop pod smelter, so you should start using this from now on. Another benefit is that we can automate the smelters to make our life easier. For this, you need to connect the drone miner to a smelter by using loaders and conveyor belts. Let's start by crafting the required machines. 2 loaders, one for the smelter and one for the drone miner, as well as a few belts to connect them.
Okay, let's just make that.
While you're crafting those,
so
let us recap the plan. We will set up a basic factory to provide us with the most crucial resources to get started. Then we'll look at getting the space station up and running again so that we can use it as a sales hub for our future products.
Alright, so I need to craft loaders and conveyors. Alright, I have 1 loader. I need more parts. And And that's not giving me any parts. Okay. Alright, this is horrible. How does one demolish a thing and place it facing the other way so that I can actually see the computer? Alright, so back up and running, it looks like. And in the meantime, I got 130 rubble. So let's... got it. Okay, so if we do that... Success! How long does the biomass last? So far, lasting quite a while. I expect that to change. Also, I need to probably get some more blue ore. So I imagine I'm probably close to running out of this stuff as well. So let's grab some. Oop, I didn't quite finish that before I let go of the key. Alright, that's a good solid supply of technum ore there. Let's come over here. Alright. Starting to get the hang of the menus a little bit. So let's craft the second loader. And make a bunch of conveyor belts as well, although apparently not super efficiently. So we're at 14 out of 20. And what are we missing? We're missing machinery parts, which are xenoferrite. Okay. Good news is that is all here. Alright, we have made
you have the machines necessary to connect the drone miner to the smelter. Now, attach a loader to each machine and connect them with conveyor belts.
Okay. So we go bag, loader, and conveyor belts onto the hotbar. Okay. This is definitely not the most intuitive thing I've ever done. So rotate is R. And that goes to there. And looks like it's working. Maybe? Press F2.
Great! We connected the machines and have automated the tedious process of moving items by hand. Isn't automation great? Now it's time to scale up and build more smelters.
So loader...
A single belt full of ore can feed multiple smelters.
So manifolds are super efficient in this.
The info database has a diagram if you need one. A loader only adds enough items at a time to a machine to ensure it doesn't stop. This makes it easy for you to have multiple machines fed by a single long belt.
So, yeah, that's actually huge. So in Satisfactory, like their whole manifold problems, where it takes a while for the entire factory to get set up because the inventories are filling, and also that means that if there's some problem, all of the machines have a significant buffer of resources, so the problem won't materialize for a while. But here, it seems like neither of those are going to be the case, and it should make that a lot easier to tell. Let's make more building blocks so I can build with some blocks. expand the foundation out a little bit. He wants me to make more smelters, which means electronic components, which I assume are that other part that I need. So let's get some of this. Apparently this is less efficient. It's hard to say. Just gonna keep taking these and then checking until we have enough. Alright, so now we can make another smelter. And can I take that back out now? I guess not. Alright. Second smelter. I mean, I kind of want to be using the more efficient things for the Technum, but I guess this is fine. I guess we can just have a lot of this stuff to start with. And I need more loaders, so let's craft some of those. And then this gets a loader there. And belt going through it. And there we go. That's 2 smelters cooking up brown ore. Grab some more of that, craft 2 more smelters, and 1 more loader. Alright, tutorial is tutorialing. We're making... So far, seems pretty straightforward. Obviously it's different from Satisfactory, with you have the loaders instead of like specific ports. But it's making sense. Alright, so then we put another 2 in.
We have completed our initial mission of setting up a smelting facility. We've done a great job, haven't we? According to our business plan, new machine blueprints will be created from research. My archive contains plans for a research server. Through material analysis, I should be able to provide a beacon blueprint, which we are going to need to notify the station of our planetary location. Let's get going and build a research server.
Alright, well, I think before I build a research server, I want to set up something like this for the other type of ore. Which is going to mean building the foundation out to over there, because apparently foundations move power in this. So there we go. We need to go up over this tiny little ridge. And then over, and we're going to need more building blocks. Alright, so now we are over here. We can do the same thing with building out a nice little platform. I'm going to need even more building blocks. I've already run out again. Give me some of those. And give me some of those. And some of those. Let me continue on over here. Let's make 2 more batches of building blocks. There we go. And another drone miner. So that is crafting away. All sorts of intermediate parts needed to be made. But we have it. We're going to rotate it so that it faces a sensible direction. And no power. So, is that because the entire thing has shut down? Yes, the entire thing is shut down because we ran out of biomass, presumably. So let's grab biomass. And sure, one more little shrub type thing. And in you go. Machine efficiency 70%. Well, that's fun. So the power grid apparently doesn't crash when you run out of power. Things just run more slowly. Love to see it. I need to craft some conveyor slopes to get up and down. So let's... Alright. It's a bit confusing, but I think if we do that, then what have I done? Alright, I didn't mean to do that. Demolish all of those. Alright, I have to click rotate. Alright, now we can craft more conveyor belts. We're going to need a lot of these. And now we conveyor belt this over this way. And we're going to need even more, probably, so I'll just queue up even more. Alright, then we have the conveyor lift going down. Wait, it was going the wrong way? Hold right mouse button. Slope down. Alright, that they certainly could stand to make that more intuitive. Alright, but we've done it. We have brought in a conveyor belt. And we need to put a loader. We need a couple of these. So why? Oh, okay. I've messed this up. So these can't be this close. So this then goes there. And then the belt comes out, not there, and turns again. Alright, we've done it. We have managed to maneuver the belts into a vaguely sensible situation. Now I need more plates, so give me some of these. Just as many as you have. So I need to craft a couple more batches of building blocks. And then build a nice spacious space. And some smelters. Please say there's more here. There isn't. Hate to see it. Alright, so I have the one smelter at least. So we can put that in there. And did I put enough space for this? I think I did. We have the loader. And then the belt goes through there. And boom. One automated smelter down. Another half a dozen to go. And I assume machines are down to... They're still at 70%. Grid stats. Low voltage grid, so we actually need another biomass burner, and we're also about to run out of biomass in the current one. The joys of manual power. Give me some biomass. Even more. Fortunately, we are in a bit of a foresty area. I'm gonna expand that out a little bit more. And there you go. Have some more fuel so everything doesn't fall apart. And I'll take some of those. And probably just gonna build one more smelter for Technum. They said I need less of it, so I'm gonna take them at their word. And build that in. Build that in. And there we go. So that's 4 for the Xenoferrite and 2 for the Technum. So next stop is Research Server, which requires more parts. So let's grab some more parts and see what happens. Alright. Requires 20 Technum rods on top of other stuff. I guess start producing the electronic components now. Something like that. We're gonna need that production at some point soon. And then grab those. And yes, we can start producing the research server. And now we just have to place it. So I guess this nice convenient space here makes sense as much as any other.
To advance in research, you need to make science packs. Craft a few by hand and insert them into the research server to research the beacon blueprint.
Alright, we're going to research the beacon
There is
blueprint.
a previously prepared drop pod with an additional robot assistant on the station. We can call it once we've placed the beacon.
Alright, so let's queue up 3 of those. And then we can start doing research. Where's the panel for this? It's off over that way. Okay, hang on. Let me rotate this so that the panel is facing somewhere I can access. Alright, science pack number 3 is about to be crafted. Power is still somewhat dubious. let's craft another biomass burner. And stick it here next to the current one. So in you go, and do I have any extra? No, not in my inventory. Let me go out and grab some. Alright. Should be good enough for now. Grid status is now fully online. Insert 3 science packs into the research server and research emergency beacon. Alright, that's that. So we just have to sit here and wait for a bit. The fuel situation still says machine efficiency 70%. I don't know what that even means. Maybe the burners themselves are at 70% efficiency because they're just not very good. Probably what that means. So let's grab some of this stuff so that we have a giant inventory full of basic parts.
Got it. We now have the beacon blueprint. Craft it and place it, but not too close to your existing machines. Those drop pods tend to land right on top of the beacons.
Alright, so let's craft an emergency beacon. And place it so I guess we will fill over something. And we can just pop this down anywhere. Put it there. Press button. Press.
Great. Now you might want to take a step back and look up.
Okay. Ah, look at that. Drop pod.
A
Explosive.
real groundbreaker. This corporate command companion bureaucrat bot, C3BB for short, will help us with the administration of our factory. First, let's help him out of that drop pod by deconstructing and placing it in a safe location.
Alright, so we deconstruct this. And then we place it again in a safe location. How about like right next to the crater?
Welcome to the ground C3BB. We have completed setting up our basic manufacturing infrastructure. What's the situation on the space station? It's about to break apart, you say? Spontaneous explosive disassembly. That's extremely troubling. What now? There's a working construction drone bay that we can use to repair the station. Perfect. Let's establish contact and repair the most critical parts. We need to research the space station terminal.
Picking up some stuff while the cutscene plays. Have a bit more biomass. Research space station terminal. Research space station terminal. I need another 3 science packs. I will queue those up. And looks like xenoferrite production is going smoothly. Alright. Why do you have a giant exclamation mark? New task, stabilize space station. Okay.
I agree. Preventing the space station from falling apart is our highest
I don't know what that does.
Let's set up a connection and initiate emergency repairs.
Stand in this?
I'll guide you through the process.
Alright. At some point in that, while I was distracted, the research finished. I'm going to take a wager and say I'm going to need more of this, so I'll just be cooking up another 6 or so while we wait. Probably can always use more science. So it looks like this is not keeping up with the smelter array, whereas this is, or at least it's backlogged so much that it effectively is. Yeah, that's backlogged.
Now that we have the blueprint,
Okay.
we need to build the terminal to finally get a connection to the station's command center. Once built, open the control menu and start the emergency repairs upgrade. Luckily, the station has a pretty big stock of construction materials, so we don't have to worry about that for a while.
Alright. Craft a space station terminal. Craft. Alright. Apparently my extra science production hasn't quite finished. It has now. Place the space station terminal, set up company at the terminal, initiate emergency repairs on the space station. Alright, that sounds fun. Alright, so we're doing that. Crafting complete. Now we need to place this. Does it need to be on the foundation? I believe it does, based on the little X's on the bottom of it. So let's build some more building blocks and give us some space over here. Plop it down next to the science machine. Contact space station. Enter your company name here. 8 of spades. Sure. And company color can be white. Company logo can be that, I guess. Complete registration process. Station upgrades. Hull. Emergency repairs. Alright. And start.
Great. Our construction drones on the space station are working on their first station upgrade. This will take a bit. Let's shift our focus back to the factory.
Alright. Research Assembler 1.
You're right, C3BB. We need to automate research and unlock more technology before we can get serious on manufacturing our first product. If we unlock the assembler, we can use it to automatically craft all the items needed for research. Use belts and loaders to fully automate the process. And don't forget to automatically bring the science packs to the research server.
Alright, so we're doing that. We're researching the Assembler 1. And we are going to need all sorts of assemblers and stuff to make this work. Alright. How long is this taking? Not terribly long. The grid is still strained. Ah, we're moments away from running out of power. That would be why. Let's get some more biomass. Let's grab some of that, and then bring it back to the power grid. And there we go. At least a little bit power for a little bit longer. Alright, research assembler, check. Produce science packs in an assembler. Alright, so first we're going to have to craft an assembler, obviously. So let's do that. Assembler is being crafted. I think I probably need more of this stuff. probably going to need a number of assemblers. So for science packs, we need machinery parts and technum rods. Machinery parts, we need plates. Alright. So, we need all of this stuff pretty much. So let's build out the foundation over this way. And make a lot more building blocks. Alright, so we need to put assemblers there so that we can use them. And we need an assembler for machinery parts and an assembler for the science packs. Actually, is this even enough space? So we need to get... Yeah, okay. I think I want to move these back just like 1 or 2 rows. So let's do that. So this can make the machinery parts. And then this can make the science packs. So we also need loaders. Let's craft a couple of those. Boy, it'll be nice when I have some more stuff automated so I don't have to spend as much time handcrafting. The eternal fun of new versions. So I need to set this as output. And then bring the belt around into this. So that goes there. And this needs to go in. Oh, but this was also set to output, and it needs to not be that. This needs to be input. And we configure this to make machinery parts. Alright, machinery parts are being made. Still trying to work my mind around exactly how placement it works in this. We have machinery parts there. We have a friendly little guy here. So we need to output to a belt. Friendly little guy, could you please not be standing at that exact location? And that inputs from a belt. So then this belt does that. And this is configured to make science packs. It's getting machinery parts. And then I need another loader, or 2, or probably 3, actually. Could you not stand around while I'm trying to build? That would be nice. Alright. So we have our loaders. So we go to one of these machines back here. We set an output. And then you go along this way. And continue, and we need more conveyor belts. Let's get a bunch of those crafting. And so then this has to come in to there-ish. Where we have a belt. takes it as input. And now we can make science packs. Do we have enough machinery parts? Is this enough? 40. That produces at 40 a minute. This consumes at 10 a minute and 8 a minute. So is this 8 a minute? Yeah, it's plenty. Alright, and then is this producing enough? 20 a minute there. Alright, should be fine. So then we have... Now we need another loader. So this one is an output that goes from there onto a belt. And this one is an input that goes from the belt onto there. And then that goes there. And I believe we are officially cooking. We are cooking up automated science, I believe. Automated as long as the power grid works. So let's go out and make sure the power grid continues to work. Pick up some biomass. The usual. Gosh, the dead trees just sort of roll all over the place, don't they? Kind of funny. Alright, more biomass. So let's toss that into there and there, so that'll keep running for a bit longer. How is the science going? Doesn't seem to be input. Oh, is this? Ah, I see. Okay. So you don't have to place them manually. You can swap them with a button. That's helpful. Alright, so we need to research basic infrastructure and burner generator. How does one do that? Alright, unlocks logistics container, storage building that can be automated with loaders and conveyor belts. And prerequisite for additional infrastructure unlocks. Okay, fair enough. So it looks like science is getting done. At 2 science packs a minute. So it'll be several minutes until we produce enough science packs in this thing. Alright, this starter factory is kind of cursed. All of this is pretty much hardwired, so I can't scale any of this easily. The good news is, we seem to be running the research fast enough. Alright. So we have 1 active research server, 20 seconds to process 1 of each item. So this makes a science pack every 30 seconds. This uses one every 20 seconds. Alright, so technically we're not producing enough science packs for full, constant, like, maximum of 1 research server. That's probably fine. While we're sitting around here, I should queue up some production of various other things. Basic infrastructure complete. Next up is burner generator, which requires ore scanner ignium. Alright, let's do that then. The tutorial definitely lets you do some thinking for yourself, which is nice. Appreciate that. 15 seconds to process one of each required item concurrently for this one. So it's just different per research, I guess. Alright. The stream going. Nothing looks weird. Alright, cool. Ah, you can swap between different hotbars with tab. I see. More intelligence is being learned. Also, the space station emergency repairs are slowly ticking up. Alright, what is there to do in the meantime so I can stay productive? I guess what I can do is make a storage container for all of this stuff. Pretty sure I'll unlock that at some point. Logistics container. Okay, let's make some logistics containers so that we can just have a box filled with the various resources, and we can pull from that box instead of manually from individual machines. Alright, so if I were to replace something, it would probably be drone miners. Probably am going to use drone miners in the future, but not like immediately. Let's get one of you in. And let's get that space cleared up. And put you in. So then...
Ignium ore scanning. That'll come in handy. Ignium is an ore that is highly flammable and can be used for automated power generation. Research the burner generator to utilize it. Ignium is buried beneath the ground. Use the scanner and your drill to find it.
I changed the recipe on this. This was supposed to be machinery parts. I don't know why. I thought that was the research interface that I was messing with there. Alright. Start researching burner generator. Alright, so what was I doing? So, okay, I need just some of those. And swap them to output. And then run them by that. And then into there. So now we have a container for our Technum rods. And we should take this apart and draw from the container instead. So set that to output, and boom. Oh, that's not actually the building. The building is back over here. So then we just have to connect that up. And set that to output. Alright. Another huge success. We have that. Now let's head over here and do the same thing on this side. So we need 2, 3, 4. And then all of these set to output. And then run that there. And it's too close to to this container, so we'll move the container just a little bit back. So if you put the container there instead, now put that in, and we have that. And we fill this space up. Then we put an output there. Set it to output. And we do that. And now we have that fed from containers instead of directly from machines. Which is probably just an improvement for neatness, if nothing else. Why is this not working? Did I put the wrong thing in? Oh no, this one makes science packs. Alright, note to self, don't mess up your recipes. Also, if these loaders only take the things that they need, then sushi belts are actually entirely reasonable in this game. That's worth noting. Alright, so unfortunately wasted a lot of time on research there. Let's get a couple of these manual crafted just real quick to get this started. Is getting the occasional science pack. Also, power is starting to run low again. Oh, we're so very close to not having to do this anymore. Cannot wait. It's remarkably quick in this game. Although I think technically the resource patches aren't infinite in this game. So it's not, like, entirely solved like coal power in Satisfactory. Alright. The little guy is confused. That's fine. You can stay confused. I'm gonna throw the power in. What do you want? Alright.
Danger averted. With the station secured, we can shift our focus back to the factory. Good job.
Alright, we've done it. Hooray. New task, automated power.
You're right. Collecting biomass by hand isn't future-proof. We should use ignium ore and the burner generator so that we can
so this is
automate
just
our
like
energy production.
another tutorial next to the current one. Alright. Almost there on the science pack production. I can get the research going faster by throwing some in manually, so that should keep that going at 100% for the foreseeable future. Alright. It looks like these nodes are going to last a good long while. So that's nice. Don't want to have to worry about running out and having to go somewhere else, like, immediately. We definitely need to restructure this whole thing. Once we get ignium power set up, I'm probably just going to run back and, like, tear most of this down and rebuild it more logically. Alright. Produce science packs and assembler task is complete. Now we just have to wait for the burner generator to finish and to not get stuck off the edge of the foundation. It's 44%. let's just craft a bunch of building blocks and loaders manually so that we are doing something while we wait. I don't want to queue up too many things because I do want to actually finish in case I have something else that I need to actually craft, like, urgently. Sorry, it's super difficult to type in chat with this game. So, yeah, unfortunate. Also, like, fairly certain you're just a bot that can't read audio, so, you know, that's that. Alright, almost finished. I mean, it's definitely not quick, is it? You could probably set up more research servers to make it go faster. Alright. See that? Let's go in. The containers are filling up with stuff. It's good to see. Just waiting on burner generator research to finish. Hopefully will be soon. A bit of waiting around, I guess. I could be doing something more productive, but don't know what that is exactly. Sort of are producing massive quantities of everything we need except for research. Okay, I can set up electronic components automation. That's what I'll do. So, I go here to my convenient storage box, and I craft another assembler and another logistics container. So we're going to need those. And while those are crafting, let's make some space here. So that can go there, maybe. And make wire coils. I guess I don't have splitters currently. Assuming that... So that's going to be a bit of a problem. So let's get that. And more space needed. So then this is the input for that. And this belt comes along that way.
That's a lot of new technology. The recently unlocked burner generator will be crucial to automate energy generation. You can send ignium ore from drone miners right into it. It's also more efficient.
All right.
Our next task is a big one. It's time to make some profits. According to our corporate strategy document, there is a very simple transport robot design we can make with our limited technology.
This way.
This transport bot shall be our first product.
Right.
Yes, I know. We need to get it to the station to sell it. For that, we'll use shipping pads. Spaceships can land there to transport items between the planet and the station. We will need to buy our first spaceship.
And that goes there.
We still have some thermalite stored on the station, which is the galactic currency.
Then this.
A broken hangar? All right, we'll have to repair it before we can buy a ship. Operator, you know how station upgrades work. Let's go.
And boom, we have that being produced. Alright, so ignium ore. Right over here. Alright, so let's bring the foundation over this way. And scan again, because I've forgotten where exactly it is. Over here. And is it underground? Right, it is apparently underground. So if we get through this dirt, we need to... Alright. Ignium ore found. Let's uncover a bit more of it here. And let's get rid of this giant rock, because it's potentially in the way. Now, where was that foundation that we were building? It's all the way over here. Alright, so this comes along, and we have to build a fair chunk of foundation. And then all the way over to this hole there. So now we go along this way. Ah, I made that much too wide. Also, I can't get up on this foundation because it is too high. And apparently you have to deconstruct everything manually. Oh, Shift F, switch to bulk demolish. Got it. Alright, so that works like that, I guess. So then we should bring that down to ground level just for convenience. And then the hole is over here. So let's connect them up. And now we just have to make a wide-ish area. We need to make more of those. And we're also going to need to make a whole bunch of conveyors to bring the resources back. And a drone miner. Can I... Is there a way to mess with the crafting queue? There's gotta be. Yes. I could right-click on it to cancel. Alright. Drone miner crafting. I should have grabbed some of those electronic parts that I had. And let's cover up the biomass burner. Put the drone miner in. It says no power. So is this not properly connected? Maybe I have to do that. Nope, still no power. It definitely seems to connect back. Has the whole thing lost power? Yes, the entire thing has lost power, right as I was about to get some. Right as I was about to get stable power, we lost power. Let's chop down a couple more trees, get a bit more biomass. Alright. And one more. This should be enough to get the whole thing running again. So use some power. And now we just need to craft... Let's craft 2 burner generators, just so that we can. And I once again forgot to pick up any of my fancy new electronic components from automatic construction, which would have saved me a lot of time. Alright, so now we have ignium being mined. So let's make that an output. And gotta make sure that this conveyor works properly. Alright. Can't quite get up to the corners. You have to stop before them. Alright, and I need to craft some conveyor slopes, probably. Let's get some of those in. And set this to slope up. And now we need to maneuver this around so that it goes into that. Alright. Get up the slope. And let's get more of these crafting. Alright, I think I just crafted an insane amount of them. But that's fine, I have the resources for it. So let's run this along and not do that, whatever that was. Alright, what are you doing up there? Alright, we have to get back onto this foundation and continue dragging the belt along until we get the ignium back to approximately our main base. Alright, so here we are. We're now waiting on belts to craft. So while we're waiting on belts to craft, let's set up the actual burner generator area. So let's put these in, replacing the slopes, since I won't need those for a while probably. And ooh, these are big. Okay. Nice and big. So let's designate that whole space out there. And we get both of those in. And intake. Run the belt along. And don't do that. Let's go back over here. And bring that across. And in. Alright, once this makes it over, we should no longer need the biomass burners. Yep, look at that. The burners are burning. And we should have enough fuel for quite some time. Alright, next up, we need to do a new research, which is transport bot assembly and shipping. Transport bot assembly and shipping. Unlocks the ability to produce transportation bots and shipping parts to move them to the space station. Alright, so we need a couple research packs. We have a decent chunk stored up by this point. And while that is going, I should definitely upgrade this whole situation. Actually, this guy has a question mark.
We did it. Automated power generation is the backbone of every factory.
Beep boop indeed. Next task, expand smelters.
Okay, math genius. If it takes 8 small smelters to fill up a conveyor belt, then we'll build 8 for each metal ore.
Alright. That makes sense. Let's do that. So we are going to need... First of all, we're going to need to grab some stuff. Let's grab some of those, and some of those, and some of those, and some of those. Alright, so we currently have 4 smelters there and 2 smelters there. So we need 2 more small smelters. So let's craft those up. And I guess we can just squeeze these in here. Alright, really squeezing the machines in. That's fine. So then we put the intakes in. And now we just have to run that belt along. Alright, so now what we need is probably another drone miner here. Because this one is apparently not filling this belt. We'll pop you in. And pop you in and toggle. So that should be an improvement there. And this one probably going to need the same. How much technum are we using here? Theoretically up to 80. And a belt can move up to 160. Alright. Still not entirely sure. I think we need even more smelting capacity for that. How is this going? 80% done? Alright. Let's also get these outputting onto the belt. Boom. Set those as outputs. Wait, actually, hang on. Those are facing the wrong way. So what we need is for these belts to go here, and then that to wrap around into that. Okay. Bit complicated. Definitely did not give myself enough space to work with here. Not horribly surprising. Alright. Repair the hangar bay on the space station. Spaceship hangar. Basic hangar repairs. Click. Alright. So then buy a small cargo ship and task it with planetary shipping. So I guess we need to wait for the hangar to repair for that. in the meantime, we need to get this all sorted out better. So I think what we have to do is take out research, take out space station terminal, take all of this stuff out. We need to expand, and we need space to expand into. This stuff is all in the way of that. So, take all of that apart. And, alright, so we have space here. Now, let's craft some more smelters. And line these up. And also queue up more building blocks. Can I just get dirt out of my inventory and stone out of my inventory? The odds of me needing those are very slim. And also ore rubble out of my inventory. Don't need any of those. Might need the inventory space. Alright. So we have this, which we expand out and make a giant smelting array. Alright, so this would theoretically be able to smelt the full capacity of a belt if I had the resources for it, which I don't. Alright, wait, I don't actually want to take that apart. I think I can keep this being the storage container. Actually, no, probably not. I think I want the storage container to be out by the back corner. So let's fill up that space. And I'm pretty sure this is the storage container block. I've definitely just forgotten, but yes, it is. Alright, so we take that apart, because we don't want it, and we build a whole bunch more outputs onto this belt. So, and this goes along that way. And then this belt comes up here, and then around that way. And then into a storage container. And these are 20 to 20, so that should be a full belt there. And then I can do the same thing here. So I just expand this belt out to service all of those machines, and we set this to input. So we're building a bunch of inputs, and then we head around back and take that apart. And we need this belt to run along this way. And then all of these machines are set to output. They all output onto this belt, which then logistics containers real quick. Then all of that can output into this logistics container, which I guess, if I'm very careful, I can get it to line up with the other one, and that'll be nice. So we can go, like, there. So then this belt goes there, I guess. And in. Alright. So we have all of that very basic stuff now done. But what we don't have is nearly enough resource input to actually manage it. And also we need to move our science and technology stuff somewhere. So let's make a new thing over there. And build the space station terminal. And what were we supposed to be doing? Buy a small cargo ship. Buy ship. Small cargo ship. Purchase. Check. Task it with planetary shipping. Current assignment. Planetary shipping. Place a shipping pad. Is that something that I can craft? Shipping pad small. Alright. We place this. And we configure the ship small. Okay, yeah, that's small, I guess. So we want this shipping pad to be just like in this space. Where is it? Alright, it works facing like exactly in this area facing horizontally. So I guess we're just going to plop it down there. Configure the shipping pad to deliver transport bots to the station. Where's the... How does one configure? Where is configure? Ah, panel. Okay, so if that's the panel... If that's where the panel is, I want this to be facing the other way. So let's take that apart. Go to the bag. Place that facing this way. Alright, configure this. Transport wares from factory to station. Transport bot. Confirm.
We did it. That was quite a lot, right? But it'll be worth it. Just one more step to make some cash. We can convert an old hangar to a sales platform from which passing traders and customers will be able to buy our products.
Alright, sales platforms.
Once built, we need to enable sales through the station command menu, and then we wait. You'll be notified about sales every hour.
Alright. Construct the sales platform on the space station. Contact space station. Upgrades sail platform. Build. Not enough power. Oh no. That's horrible. So, station upgrades. Solar panels. Repair solar panels. So let's do that. And then we'll have enough power. Alright, in the meantime, this box is empty. That's fine. I don't want it there anyways. I'm going to get rid of all of this because this is all old stuff back from when I was not thinking ahead at all. So actually, how's my inventory looking? Pretty decent, honestly. Far from the worst ever. Okay, I don't know why this line is like that. Like, very clearly, we want this to go into that storage crate. And get rid of that. Alright, apparently we have to double click. The controls in this are definitely very different from Satisfactory. Just having to get used to them. Alright, is this a full belt? No, it's not. Which means I'm going to need even a third drone platform. Which is quite a lot. So let's get that space there. Put third drone platform in. Give you that. And tell you to output. And now I realize that I don't actually want that. Because that space needs... That space being clear is probably more efficient. Alright, so that is yielding 60-ish. That's yielding 60-ish. If this also yields 60-ish, then we should be able to cap out that belt. Power is looking very comfy. Power is looking like not a problem. So now we need to do the same thing for the tech... What is it even called? Technum. So this is... We need another... Let's build another 3 of them, just so that we have a lot. And there they go. Now we're going to need to take a whole bunch of this stuff apart so that we can build it properly. And all of this stuff is currently unpowered. Alright, then that platform gets extended out. This belt gets extended out. And boom, boom. Now we just bring the power back. And we need to hook the belt up to that belt. So let's move that belt back a little bit. Just give us some space. If we go there, and let's get the slope up. So now we just have to take that around that way and then up there. And that should be Technum produced at a much faster rate. So hopefully that starts moving along now. And I believe that... No, this is definitely not... It's hard to tell if this is going at max capacity or not. That's 62, that's 64, that's 64. Alright, yes, this one is actually filling up, which means I believe that that is good. this belt, I can just visually see, is filled. Alright, so we have all of that. Then we have these boxes filled with the basic parts. So then the next step is to build the non-basic parts. Get this rock out of the way. And I guess we're going to have to go up a step here for this portion. So let's see, what do we need to do? We need science stuff, which science packs are machinery parts and technim rods. So we need machinery parts. So let's get say 2 of these, because why not? So these are apparently need to be like that in order to be connected properly. So it doesn't connect through diagonals only. That's worth noting. So we configure these assemblers and we say make machinery parts. Components, machinery parts. And likewise, if we pick that up, does that kill the poor little robot? I'm gonna place it over here, just to be sure that it doesn't kill the poor little robot. So you can go here next to that, next to the drop pod, which I haven't constructed yet. Alright, so then I need to craft some more assemblers. Let's get those crafting. And let's get some more space here. So then we have 2 assemblers, which I want to be facing inwards so that I can look at them. And then these are set to assemble wire coils. Actually, I don't want both of them to make wire coils, probably. So yeah, we're gonna have just parts, machinery parts. We need wire coils and technim rods and all sorts of stuff. Alright, I think if we do that, then that will leave us with some spare of everything. So let's take the technim rods and run them in through the front side of this. No, not there. There. And then that would... We need more loaders, so let's craft a bunch of those. So let's put that in. And attach that up. And intake loader, intake loader. Right now, this comes in a belt that goes around the back. And output loader, intake loader. So now we have electronic components, wire coils, and, well, we will have these once we attach them. So let's do that real quick. We have that container full of junk, which we don't need. Alright, so let's get that up there. That goes through. And gets intakes. And then we put an output there. Belt all of those in. So that is all that. And we can expand this outwards if we need to in the future. We also can go over here and construct the sales platform on the space station now that we have power. So let's get that started. Alright, so we have those, we have those, and we have those. So let's now put these in boxes and also craft some more building blocks and conveyor belts. So we need a platform around the back of these. And conveyor belt, which runs past them. And so then output onto this belt, which, come on, give me space, outputs into a container. Alright, then that is done. So we have a container with those. Now we need a container for these. And is there any use for these except for this? There might be, so I will make a container for them just to be safe. Make a nice big space there. And container and container. So that is already outputting there. This needs an output. And this needs an input. So let's set that to input. And then I'm already regretting how I've done this, but now we have those. And then that just feeds into that. Now, if we wanted to expand electronic part production, can we do it easily? The answer is no. No, it would be very difficult. So we need to move this. We need to move this out of the way so that these can... Don't put a hole there. So we need... I think we need to not have this, probably. So if I take all of this apart, how do I get the electronic components out of an entire line of these. It doesn't seem easy, but yeah, I just don't know how to do that. Maybe... Right, yeah. You can't, like, stretch loaders over stuff. Ooh, can you put a loader on, like, the Z-axis, like, up there? No, just in these little holes. Alright, it's not gonna work. So I think we just have to be happy with one for now. So, okay, wait, what we can do is we can have just like these in pairs. And this can output... Alright, I have an idea. So if we put our output there, then destroy that, have some space there. So this can output to, like, out there. And if we wanted a second one of these, then we would just have to build more of these. So we wouldn't be doing one-to-one, and we'd have more machines than necessary, but it would work. Alright, so let's then do that. Get rid of another annoying rock that's in the way. Alright, annoying rock removed. And now we can put our storage and toggle that to input. Alright, so now we have both of those. Then the next thing we need is, I guess, to make transport bots and science. So we need machinery parts and technim rods for that, and all sorts of things for that. So we'll do science first, I think, because with science we might learn how to make more useful things for logistics. So we need machinery parts and technim rods. So that's this and these. So let's build a machine there, and some more space, and another machine there. And these assemblers can both make science packs. So that would be 20 machinery parts, and we make 40. Let's actually make another 2. Alright. Get this tree out of the way. And now we have that. So we move the technim rods over this way and run them across there. We craft a couple more loaders because we're probably going to need them. And we output that to a belt, which will run along the back. And how do we get the science packs out of these now? No idea. but we can at least get the supplies in. So those all go there, and then we swap around, and then these all go in there. And please say we can... Alright, looks like we can't copy paste. I just have to configure all of these. Alright, the first two are already configured. So now we have a bunch of machines making science packs. So then the next thing we need are research servers to actually do something with the science packs. So, how many of those do I have? I have one. I'll make another couple. And assign them to the hotbar in place of smelters. Let's just get a couple of those in. And feed them from a belt. The belt runs along that way. So now we just have to get the science packs out. Which is probably impossible. It's probably... Let's see here. Well, I can get the packs out for this one. So I can do that. That's progress. Then... Is there any way of doing this? No, I think there isn't. There's got to be some fancy science that lets me do this. So let's find research interface. Configure balancers, loader second lane. This is what we need. If we have a loader second lane, then we would be able to do it. Now, where is all of our science? Also, can this bush get out of the way, please? Thank you. Alright, where did all the science wind up? Oh, this is set to input, not output. That's where all the science wound up. So let's just disperse some science there. And from now we can manually grab some and put it in the machines. I really wish I could split it better. So how do you split a stack? There's gotta be a way to just put a couple science packs in. I cannot for the life of me figure it out. So instead we're gonna have to just manually grab a couple more and then manually put them in that one. And once the loader second lane gets researched, then we will be able to do this properly. In the meantime, transport bots. How do you make transport bots? You need xenoferrite plates, machinery parts, and electronic components. First of all, how many machinery parts are we using? We're using 40 machinery parts a minute there, and we are producing 40 of there. So we can't actually do all of these then. Or at least we would need... Okay, what we need these to not be facing in line. We need these to be facing, like, outwards, so that when we need to expand them, we can expand them. So let's fix that then. Although first let's make some more of those, and make some more of those. Just so many more conveyors are needed. Alright. Loader second lane is almost finished. Now, let's take this all apart. So we have that taken apart. Now, what we need to do is we need these to be facing like this. So this is, I assume, just got deconfigured at some point somehow. So you can do that, and you can do that. And we've somehow run out of xenoferrite plates in our inventory. So let's take a couple stacks. Alright, so now with this facing this way, then we would have... Alright. We need to actually take these apart again and give them more horizontal space around the back. So let's get these in there. So now we take those loaders apart. Make sure you set to intake. And they get their input there and there. And then all of this gets taken apart. And this instead goes this way. So now when we need more, we can just build more out that way. And we can do the same for the electronic components, although we will do it immediately for these because we need them right now. So let's make another couple of assemblers. Put that in. Put that in. I actually don't think I can have 4 machines because that would use all of my plates, and I also need those. This game is very complicated, especially when your logistics systems are terrible. Alright, so we do that. We configure you to make machinery parts. Now, we make... No, why? Why would you do that? If you go here as output belts, fill you up. And then this loops around into that as an input belt. And now we have more component production. So these are, let's see, 20, 40, so this is 160 a minute. these assemblers keep getting unconfigured for some reason. I don't know how that keeps happening, but then this is 40, 80, 120 a minute, so we would have some plates to spare, and we'd be making 120 with those things. So then these need 10, 20, 30, 40 of those a minute, and also some Technon rods, which I assume we have more than enough of. Alright, so now, transport bots. What do I need to make transport bots and continue the tutorial? I need plates, machinery parts, electronic components. Okay, also I can set these up now that I have second lane. So let's go back here, make that a little bit wider. And can't build it from there. Let's just make a bunch of those. And a bunch of those while we're crafting loaders. May as well have a bunch of both types. Alright, so then this we can do that, and that, and that, and that. And we set all of these to outputs, of course, because I should have done that. And we run them along. And then directly into there. So now, looks like we need to grab some of these. Let's do that. Loaders are taking a while to craft because we're manually crafting all of those. Right, you get cancelled. You get cancelled. We should have a couple of those. Alright, I don't want to... Is there a way of just like adding 10? I don't want to craft hundreds of them. Alright, we have enough now anyway. So then we have these set to input. And we feed them all. Alright, so what research do we want next? Signs, railings, lights, ladders, doors. Character improvement, inventory slots. Let's get some inventory slots. It's starting to become a problem. Alright, so now that that is running, transport bots, we need plates and both types of fancy parts. So let's expand out to this area, get rid of some annoying trees. And alright, we have our inventory slots. So let's configure these as transport bots. So we need to bring in these, so let's get that in. And that is row 1. Set that to output. And intake. Alright, row 1. Check. Next up, we need plates. So what we actually need are splitters, I guess. So let's get over here to the research. Conveyor balancer. Start research. Allow us to split, merge, or balance 2 conveyor lanes. That'll be useful to have. In the meantime, we just need to, like, take this belt around over to there. Alright, so we need splitters for that. We can't really easily do it. Then the other thing we need are the mechanical parts, which we can do by making that an output. And up and over along that way. And second lane input. Alright, that's that. Now we need to get this belt. I guess we can sneak it around that way. And we need to craft more slopes. Looks like it. Let's get that going. And some more conveyors too. Well, while we're in the menu clicking. Cool Satisfactory mod. Yeah, this is Foundry. It's sort of Satisfactory adjacent. It's a fair bit different. Wait, I don't want those to connect in. That would be bad. So it's basically the same style of game, but slightly different. And so I'm trying it out. And if I like it, it'll probably replace Magic the Gathering for the Tuesdays and Thursday streams. So far, I'm having fun. Alright, so then this comes along this way. And goes up there. But not that far. Then that comes along there. So then this is the last input for these. Oh, there are only 2 machines here. I don't know why I thought there were 3. Yeah, I was honestly starting to get sick of Magic the Gathering 2. There's only so much dying to bad luck that you can take before you get frustrated and stop. Alright, so then is that producing? Looks like it is. Alright, so then the next thing I need is the long... What are these even called? I've forgotten what they're called. So that goes there. That goes theirs. Yeah, it's the bad luck in card games, and also like the formats I was playing weren't very fun either, so like that definitely contributed to it. And so we're doing this now. So now I need to get these over to there. And I need to craft more foundations. Alright, so then we just take a long skinny foundation over this way, which we could probably just do with a belt on the ground, I guess, but you never know when you'll need foundations nearby. Alright, so then the input for this is here. Yep, I considered playing Factorio. I don't know. For me, it just like I like the chill, no monsters sorts of vibes, like this game and Satisfactory. Whereas, I don't know. I worry that Factory would be a bit too stressful for me. It's definitely like if I end up getting frustrated by this game for whatever reason, the next one I would try is definitely Factorio. Yeah. Alright, so then this comes along here. And don't go over the bush, just remove the bush. And then go through the bush. Alright, so then that comes along there. And then what we need is a conveyor slope, which is set to slope down. And in like that. For some unknowable reason, this uses belt inputs instead of the hole inserter things like everything else. Alright, so we are now delivering transport bots. Success. And there's the cargo ship. I don't know how this next part works. So this is presumably going to take the transport bots up. Figure min. Alright. And it's off. I don't know how this all works. So that takes things up to a space station, which presumably... Alright. Success. Now I sell on the sales platform. Enable. Alright. I don't understand how that works, but if I set it to regular, then maybe it'll just work. Alright, so that's all that. Where's the little robot that gives you bonus quests? Do you have any bonus quests? Build 16 smelters small. I thought I did. Am I bad at counting? 8. 4. 2, 3, 4. Alright.
Ah, the smell of profit. We've set up
Apparently
the
I'm bad at
basics,
counting.
but there is a lot to come. I know I've been bothering you a lot. I'll dial it back a bit from here and let you follow your own plans.
Alright, apparently I just somehow cannot count and I need one more
Oh,
smelter
right.
for that.
One final thing. I mentioned it before, the galactic currency is called thermalite. It's a precious metal that is both used as currency and as crafting material. You don't need that yet, but soon you will need to ship it to the planet from the station to make use of it.
Alright, so then this... In order to complete the little side quest thing, I need to get one more smelter in, which conveniently I just don't have the space for with the container. So let's destroy a whole bunch of these and stop feeding it real quick. So let's destroy all these. Really wish it wouldn't give me the little pop-up notification. Alright, and now I can take the box apart, put one more smelter in here, and then find somewhere else to stick the box. Alright, so... smelter... where are you? There you are. Put you there. I move that back hopefully just a little bit. Actually, probably don't need to move it back at all. So let's then get that as intake. And I'm pretty sure that that is now enough smelters. Keep crafting new things instead of placing the ones that I have. And wait, that's the wrong material. Alright. Managed to get a little bit confused there. So that belt doesn't go to that. The output belt goes to that, and it was just twisting around awkwardly previously. Alright, so then that needs to not exist. And I did it again. I crafted a new thing instead of using the old one. So that can go up. And then in. Alright. Fixed. And I just need a spot to put a box. Like literally just anywhere where there's space. How about here? So I can put the box there. Disconnect that. And run this. Not drag towards opposite drag direction. Alright, so then that goes like there. And then loops around. And then we put the intake on the belt. And we have a box. And we have a bunch of those things. Well, it looks like the box is going to fill up completely before it sends any on to the future. Don't love that. Let's see how... So I guess I can just fix that by having the box also output onto the belt. So let's do that. And does this work? I have to set this as output. Yes, it does work. Alright, cool. So that's all functional with all of that, and the box will just fill up with spare production. Alright, no active research. I need to get researching again. So let's go back here. Research interface. What of all these do I need? Show all research. It's a whole giant complicated tree. Do any of these things lead to anything useful? It looks like they might, but I'm just gonna go straight to Science Pack Part 2 and do that. Now, alright. This guy has a little question mark above his head, which means that the quest has finished. Expand smelters. Check.
You're right. This will provide a good supply of plates and rods. But given the task at hand, soon we might have to scale it up even further. For now, let's not get ahead of ourselves and just take a moment to celebrate this victory.
All right. Victory celebrated.
Time to reach for the stars, you say? By expanding our communication capabilities, we can get in touch with other galactic entities. Let's upgrade the station to do so.
Alright, how does one do that? Are you going to elaborate at all? Or no? Storage, 750 construction materials, finances. What is all this? Alright. We have money, I guess. And we're selling those. How does one buy? We don't have access to either of those. Station upgrades. Antenna. Research requirements. Alright, so we need to do some research for that. Fair enough. Probably will require Science Pack 2. Alright. I've already rebuilt most of this factory once, and I am already being tempted to do it again. It's all sort of chaos. Also, how is this patch going to run out? No, that's not going to run out anytime soon. How's the fuel looking? Up to 1.4 megawatts. I could probably do with another burner's power generator. So let's expand that out. And let's even make 2. Just because it's probably completely free to do so. Alright, so we have those. Then we drag the belt. And make sure to set those to inputs. And there you go. Power generation. Now back nice and comfy. Alright, and we've researched Science Pack 2. Let's head over here. So, research interface. Station antenna. Requires Science Pack 2. I assume everything past this point will require Science Pack 2. Logistics container 2. Conveyor 2. Character crafting speed. I don't want that. Alright, let's just increase inventory size while we have blue science packs. And what do we need for red science packs? Conveyors and building blocks. Got it. So that's my cue to automate production of those. Makes sense. Alright, so then how do we automate conveyors? It's plates and machinery parts. Building blocks are plates and rods. This whole thing is a bit complicated. I don't really have a good grasp of like how to get access to resources easily. I've fallen in a hole. Like, I have my belt of plates here. I'm not great at getting that belt of plates to where it needs to go. Okay, but here we have already plates and machinery parts. So, if I expand this out and get rid of some more trees. If I expand out there, then put those in. I don't want them facing that way. I want them facing inwards so that I can look at them. I need to remember to look at how they're facing before placing. Alright, so we do that. And these are those, so we can just take that along. And the plates are back here. So we can just expand that. And just put these guys in. And then the output can be that belt there, which will feed into a box. Alright, so then this faces that way. And then we need to put output belts on these. And we are now making... Why is this not configured? We're now making conveyors. So we need to configure this to make conveyors. Alright, now we have automated conveyor production. Next up is building blocks. Also, we finished inventory size 1. That's nice. So then, most of the useful stuff requires blue. So mining drill speed is one of the last useful things that doesn't, so I guess I'll do that. So we need xenoferrite plates and technum rods to make building blocks. The plates are there. The rods are there. So let's just expand this out even more. Make another couple of assemblers. Looks like the supplies are more than enough. Alright, so we made our assemblers. Now we... no, don't place it there. We do that. Get rid of another random plant. And... let's see, what... Alright, so we need another one of these guys. And we need you to make building blocks. So we have the plates back here. So we just continue running this belt along and continue attaching it in. So now the rods are this belt. So we can take that along there. Let's grab a stack of conveyor belts from our newly automated production. And bring these in like that. And like that. And then put a giant output in. And feed that output into another box. Let's craft a couple of those. Alright. So now this should, if that were set to input correctly, give us a very, very large amount of block production. We have a decent amount of conveyor belt production. How much belt production do we have? So 80 a minute. It's pretty good. And the block production is going to be limited by the belt speed. So now we just need to take... First of all, take some of these blocks now that they exist. don't have to manually craft blocks anymore, which is great. We need one more of these. And let's craft some loaders. So that outputs to a belt, which goes along that way and then feeds that with blocks. Hang on. Gotta configure it. Science. Alright. Now we go around back. We remove a random boulder. And we make this whole area foundation. Right, how do we get this out? I guess we can sneak it under this. So we sneak that through there. And now we have some Science Pack 2 production. How much does that even use? Hardly any of either. Alright, I'm going to grab some more of those and expand this out to probably another 2 assemblers of this. And then take the output and feed them into our science. So there and there. And that expands out that way. This comes along that way. And set these to inputs. And reverse them, set these to inputs. Alright, now we just need the output belt for these, which will come along like that. And then gets outputted from those 3. Alright, now we have 2 spots used there, only 1 spot used here, so we'll bring these around to the back of the science production and feed them in. So these come along this way. And then that... No, why? Stop being annoying. And just go the way I want you to. There. Alright. Then this comes along that way. And we set these as input, input, input. So now when the red science comes along, we can use it. So let's start on, I guess, conveyor mark 2. How much red science is this? It's so hard to see. It's 2 per minute. Actually, I can click E to pull it up big, full-sized. And these both need to be configured. Alright, so that is 6 red science a minute, which isn't the fastest thing in the world, but also isn't so bad. And we also got belts and foundations automated along the way, which is a huge win. Let's just craft a whole bunch of loaders so I don't have to worry about that for a while. Alright. So I have all that. then the next thing I would want to do is get more automation for more of these things. Like, if I could get long-handled inserters automated, that would be great. Let me pick up some stuff. Pick up some of those. This is empty still. So we are not using enough. We're not producing enough xenoferrite plates for everything, apparently. Which is very surprising, but let's see. So this is almost full. This is 40, 80, 120, so we're producing a net of 40 plates, which are being fed into 612 there, 40 there. Alright, yeah, we definitely need... Let's shut that one down for now. So we have more plates to spare. So that's 40, 52 plates total. $72 a minute. So that's a ridiculous amount a minute, but it's probably just going to fill up this box super quick and then not use that many. So it's probably fine. I'm gonna say that it's probably fine. The mechanical parts are doing more than enough. It's hard to tell exactly how well everything is going. I've been making profits this whole time. I don't know what one does with profits, but I guess it's just good to have. Just good to have them. I wonder if I can use the transport robots like for actually like a purpose. Yeah, okay, so probably what is all this? Probably nothing I can do on that until I get the antenna, that I can probably buy stuff. That requires red science, which is at the end of all of this. Looks like it is happening, though. At least somewhat. Plates are occasionally making it back here. It's not frequently, but it is occasionally happening. So hopefully, I mean, this needs like, what, 12 a minute? Can I set this to not go 100%? Probably underclocking exists. Definitely don't know how to do it. But I assume underclocking exists. I would love to set that to like 24 or something. Also, I think... Let's... What am I missing? Right, I'm still missing plates. Because they refuse to back up. Alright, well I have this container full of plates, so I can grab those. And if I stick some of them in here, that might help. If I just do that, then... Alright, this isn't looking like full. Why is it not looking full? Alright. It should be a full belt. It's just because of graphical stuff, I guess. So we're getting plates into these portions back here now, which are pretty much all just being consumed by this single machine. It is incredibly plate hungry, like to a wild extent. So now we can make balancers, which I believe are like a combo merger plus splitter. So we could get some of these robots and see what they do. Transport bots can only be made in the assemblers. Interesting. Alright, so let's grab some of this. I keep having to grab that. So if I just like make a platformy type of thing there, make a couple of balancers, and I were to put a balancer in, say I take those apart, I get a balancer, and I pop that there. Input priority toggle, output priority toggle. Alright, that's neat. I'm just gonna put some of these into a box, which is going to be easier said than done because I have to get it like around here. Alright, so those go into a box. Now I have a box of drones, which is gonna cut my profit in half, but I literally don't use any of that, so who cares? And in exchange, I have transport bots. Do these transport bots do anything? Who knows? Now I have a stockpile, so there. Yeah, we're definitely producing foundations faster than like any of this can keep up with it. We're also producing red science at a decent pace. We're about to finish conveyor 2. Okay, I don't want to waste some red science. So pick those up and throw some science into one of these. There. Congratulations. Alright, conveyor 2 has been researched. Then I guess conveyor balancer 2 would probably just be that. Alright. The station antenna is relatively cheap and is the next thing that we need to do. So let's start researching that. How is this looking? Alright, we are technically we still have a bit of a buffer in there, but it's definitely sort of falling apart a little bit. What I need is for these to back up at all, if they could do that. Alright, station antenna has been unlocked. Let's run over and buy that. Station upgrades. Antenna. Repair antenna. Alright. Construction progress is in progress. So now we can head back over and set new research. Alright. Vacuum bot assembly, logistics container 2, explosives, sure. Okay, let's just like, can we make a queue? Probably not. Let's just get some of these easy blue researches out of the way. Just so that they're not constantly sitting there and being tempting. Our supply of plates is steadily decreasing. So this container is filling up. This container is filling up. So hopefully once those containers fill up, and actually can I... Yeah, so I can set locked slots so they don't fill up too much. So let's just say finish your current stack and then stop filling. So that should conserve plates. It is 4:47, and currently the factory that we have as it is working almost. So we're just gonna continue knocking off some of these blue researches. So container and unlocked office furniture. That's fun. So what is this? Ah, I see. That's just recipes that I can't use manually. Paint roller, decor, basic shapes. What is... Huh? Alright, let's just craft some and see. So mode cube. Ah, I see. So there's just a whole bunch of different fun shapes. Alright, that's neat. If I ever get around to decorating, I can do that. Alright. Yeah, I think we're gonna wind up the stream just about now. Thanks for hanging out. Play Satisfactory on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. Thinking about playing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, same time period. So make sure to follow if you're interested in either of that stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.